You were totally expecting Taylor Swift, am I right? Well, we are all full of surprises, which is what makes us all fascinating and different, and yet we manage to find so many ways to connect. Later, I would be very happy to talk with any of you about the 12 Grateful Dead shows I've attended, but for now, I want to just share a little bit of local and very timely trivia. Tonight is the 60th anniversary of the Dead's very first show, held right here in San Jose. In fact, a plaque commemorating this slice of musical history was dedicated at San Jose's City Hall, which is the former site of the concert venue of that first show, just this afternoon. Right? Kind of a cool moment. But we've got other things to attend to right now. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for choosing public service, for choosing to do the hard work on behalf of our residents. Your journeys have brought us all together this evening in one of the most exciting counties in the state. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm also correct. Over the years, I have heard so many of your personal journeys to public service. Some of you come to this work after careers as telephone linemen, pilots, engineers, ranchers, farmers, law enforcement officers, teachers, and more than a few attorneys. Others of you have been in the political realm since your very first jobs as congressional aides, political chiefs of staff, or as school board or city council members. And yet, here we all are today, holding the same titles while playing a wide range of roles, serving in communities that are each unique in some way, yet finding common ground as we advocate for our residents. Some of you had a general sense of public duty. Others had a particular issue or concern that drove you to run for office. Some of you sought out this work, while others had to be cajoled and asked repeatedly to throw your hats into the proverbial ring. It is these origin stories that shape our why. And as your incoming president, I look forward to learning more of your stories across the state, why you do the work that you do, and what it is that you hope to achieve through the sacrifices you are making, whether it's time away from family, reduced income, or constituents caring loudly at you on behalf of the communities you all call home. What is immensely cool to me is that I have found county government to be almost a direct magnification of my own values. Counties, at our hearts, care for the most vulnerable people who live among us. Whether it's access to food, healthcare, housing, water, economic opportunity, or public safety, county governments have a role to play. We literally work to lift all boats because we know that this is the only way to create truly thriving communities. When some folks are left behind, for example, because they have no place to live or no access to health care, all of us are worse off. So, again, here we are, representing nearly every one of the 58 counties in this great state we call home. Our collective diversity is our glory. We are urban, rural, and suburban, mountainous, arid, and coastal, tech, ag, and tourist-driven, and big, medium, and small government advocates. We are all working to meet people where they are. So what I'd like to do is just offer a brief personal observation of where I am and how far it is from where I began. I was in my early 30s before I learned that depression in women can manifest as anger. At that time, I was married with 3 young children and struggling to cope with multiple and often competing demands on my time and on my heart. I soon began to realize that my early years living in a well-resourced yet very scary home consumed my teenage and young adult years and left me full of anger. Having my own family changed me and made me realize that if I was going to have healthy relationships and be a productive part of my community, I needed to address what was eating away at me. So this journey began, that of course involved therapy and pharmaceuticals, led me not only to repair and rebuild relationships in my personal life, but helped me begin to look out into my community as someone who wanted to do more. This journey led me to become a social justice teacher, learning more about who didn't have what they needed to thrive, and becoming increasingly determined to use the skills that I had to improve conditions for everyone in my community. A Talmudic saying that I have carried with me for decades now teaches us that while we are not responsible for finishing the work of perfecting the world, neither are we exempted from doing our part. So I've been trying to do my part. And the more I become enmeshed in the work, the more complicated it becomes. As we see shifts in our communities, economic, cultural, generational, we will undoubtedly continue to transform the way we serve. At the same time, we must be rooted in our mission and committed to our core values. For me, these are some of the constants that drive my work. I believe we are all healthier when everyone has access to health care. I believe in second chances and more. And I believe that if children and families are stable, healthy, and safe from the start, everything that follows is better. And just as trauma and poverty so often beget more trauma and more poverty, stable housing, clean, well-lit streets, access to sufficient nutrition and quality healthcare, education, and the opportunity to work, which, by the way, in many cases is only facilitated by the availability of affordable childcare, begets the beginnings of wealth building, safer neighborhoods, and economic prosperity. And that ultimately is a win for our counties to be safer and economically stronger. Stronger as less money is needed to address the deep-end traumas, injuries, and justice involvement. Wouldn't it be transformational, wonderfully so, if counties could focus on prevention rather than alleviation of harm? As the quote frequently attributed to Frederick Douglass goes, "It is far easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men." We have enormous challenges before us, many of which directly threaten the well-being, safety, dignity, and health of the very people we are seeking to uplift. And it is with that responsibility that I look ahead. So I come back to all of you, because together we have the opportunity to shape what comes next. CSAC is an organization that leads with values, listens deeply, and acts boldly. We are an association where counties come together, not in uniformity, but in unity. We must be, and we will be, at every table and in every room where policies and funding are discussed, and the voices of 58 counties must be unified as one strong and clear voice. And to accomplish this, as your president, it is my intention to spend my time, as I have since joining CSAC, listening to and learning from all of you. I'll share some examples. From Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger, watching her respond to the Palisades fire, and Supervisor Holly Mitchell as well, I learned the importance of both being present with victims and ferociously advocating for relief dollars. From Supervisor Buddy Mendez, I learned about the critical role that water plays in the health and safety of all of our communities. And from Supervisor Ned Coe, I learned about the problem of wolves killing sheep and cattle in some of our rural counties. And finally, from former Supervisor Erin Hannigan Andrews, I learned how to identify and amass funding to create new resources for our very youngest residents, the 0 to 5 set. I am here to use my own voice when appropriate, and to lift up and make space for the voices of others when there are more fitting advocates on any particular issue. To paraphrase George W. Bush, while we may not always be the deciders, we are decidedly the implementers. Counties are the direct service providers. We walk among our residents every single day, and they are looking to us not to make speeches, but for solutions. So we must deliver. And in the midst of all the challenges we face, stemming from both the federal government and, frankly, from the state, whatever the substance of the issue we tackle together, I will always keep children's well-being in the conversation, because I believe that if we get that right, everything will follow. And if we ignore impacts on children, because this doesn't seem like a serious enough topic to prioritize in tough times, we'll only perpetuate tough and tougher times for the next generation. During my year as CSAC President, I look forward to visiting counties across the state to learn about your most significant challenges and your greatest sources of pride. Because the more and more we learn about each other, the better empowered we will be to navigate our common challenges. 58 counties, one voice. I want to close with some words of gratitude. First, to all of my supervisor colleagues in this room, thank you again for the work that you do, for the strength that you provide for each other, and for your endless commitment to do what is right for California's residents. Thank you to the brilliant and impactful CSAC team for advocating on our behalves, for teaching us, educating us, supporting us, lifting us up so that we can be educated, strong, powerful, impactful advocates for our communities. Thank you to my D4 team from Santa Clara County. Absolutely. I am so indebted to all of you because you teach me every single day. Counties, as we all know, are so big and broad, and there are so many things that we are expected to be experts about. And I am absolutely blessed to have a team of that brilliant expertise to work with every day. I particularly want to offer a shout out to my absolutely unparalleled Chief of Staff, Myra Flores. Without whom I couldn't and wouldn't want to do this job. We have here as well our county executive from Santa Clara County, county council, assistant county council, and clerk of the board. I am endlessly proud of the leadership of Santa Clara County. Our administration leads with brilliance, integrity, boldness, and proactivity that I will not very humbly say seems to be unparalleled. And finally, to my family. Sending love to my brother Adam Slater in Toronto. With me tonight are my brother David Slater, my mother-in-law Maureen Ellenberg, my son and daughter-in-law Zach Ellenberg and Ruth Ferguson, my daughter Nava, and my wondrous and adored husband Steve. I am never not thinking about you. I love you and know that you make all things possible, not the least of which is this job, which I am so blessed to have. So thank you all. Let's keep the celebration going tonight. The work will be there for us in the morning.
All right, one more big round of applause for President Susan Ellenberg.